Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to our Q&A. Welcome to our Q&A video.
We are back home safely from the mission. Well, actually, it's been 6 months from the mission.
And we have edited all the episodes, so now we can start answering your questions that all came in after the last one. And also we took some from the previous comments. So we will try to go over everything that you asked, and then maybe you get a little bit more insight on what were some additional aspects of the mission.
Yeah, and we are still engaged. We are not married yet.
But it will happen one day. So yeah, we will go over the questions, starting with the first one, which is...
Let's talk a bit about planning. First question is, how did you choose the line? At first, we were drawing lines from west to east because it seemed the shortest distance. One obvious option is from the Bay of Pärnu till the Lake Peipsi, but this is going over the big national park called the Sooma, which is translation is the land of the swamp, basically, and it's just one big swamp. So
it's a no-no land.
It's a no-no land. And there were some other options, but there were many swamps on the way, and Estonia is full of swamps. So eventually it came down to avoiding swamps. And at some point I drew a line from south to north just for fun. But then I realized it's not that much longer than the lines from west to east. And when I started investigating a bit more, then I realized there was a really good corridor which went from south to north. And then we started planning the line.
The second question, was the planning of your line hard or easy? How much time did it take? It was so easy. So it's like a couple of days, and then it was done, and then it was, But, no, actually Tom did it. I didn't do anything.
But jokes aside, I would say it was hard because the line is so long and there's so many different obstacles on the way.
I remember Tom just like shifting the top and bottom just a millimeter to the right or to the left, on the maps, because it equals to tens of meters. He was always doing this little lifting, because that's the only way you can change the line. So It went on for 3 months.
Yeah, we didn't plan it over one night or 1 week. It was a gradual process. I would say overall it took 3 months to get the final line that we were happy about.
And it wasn't 8 to 5 job doing it, but it was just constantly thinking about it and just kind of shifting and looking at it again, and then shifting and doing and thinking, because you always have some kind of an obstacle that you have to choose between, some obstacles that you have to choose. So it's either a lake or a household or something, and then you kind of try to calculate what is the possibility, how to solve it, how to go through or go around. It's a lot. So it takes some time, and you have to consider all the different aspects. So 3 months.
Next question. How much did all of the stuff cost for the video, food and equipment, etc.?
It's difficult to estimate, because we bought a lot of things that were one-time purchase, and then we didn't have to buy it anymore. If we take things that are used up, for example, food and gas that you need to scout things out, and maybe some smaller things for wet wipes and toilet paper and stuff like that, it's about 500 euros. But because we did a lot of this gear upgrades, we had to buy stuff that would make our lives easier, and buy some camera equipment that is needed to film everything and be prepared, then for us it took 2,000 euros for this mission. It's not going to be that big anymore, because we have, I think, most of the things that we need, but it depends in what state your gear is. So if we started doing this kind of mission from zero and we didn't have anything, it would be crazy expensive. Yeah. But nobody in their right mind starts doing a 9-day mission out of the blue.
Yep.
Do you have to account for boars, wolves, or other wild animals in Estonia? Yes, we do, because we have them, but so far we haven't met any. And we know that they are there. We are careful and cautious. We have our pepper spray with us, but we are not overly worried
Yeah, because there hasn't been any reportings that some wolves or bears have actually attacked people. So that's why we are not really worried about it, because they are mostly afraid of us and we are really loud in the forest. So
and they can sniff us. Like usually they are pretty good. Like when the wind is blowing in some kind of a direction, then they sense you and they move away.
I guess the scariest things for us was actually the loose dogs, because there are a lot of them and sometimes they will be angry. And another fear was that the bears might actually rip open our stashes in the woods. We read that the bears don't like heavy spices, so we bought some cayenne pepper and poured some over our stashes. It seemed that it worked because they were all untouched. And if you want to see the process of us stashing our gear and seasoning our stashes, then go and check out our Patreon, because this one is free to watch.
But because bears have sensitive nose, so cayenne pepper is too strong for them.
We have a couple of questions from our Patreons. I'm sorry if we are pronouncing your name wrong, but we believe it's
Yeezy?
Yeezy?
We tried to find out the pronunciation, but we're not sure. Easy? We would say Yiri.
Yiri?
But it is not the correct one. Easy? Yeezy? We are so sorry. Yeah, we tried.
Yeah, but let's go to the question. He's asking about the mental difficulty of the trip, especially this long one. It's obviously very hard to communicate to the viewers. What were the highs and lows of the trip, and what do you do when your spirits are low, apart from eating food? I would say the lows, first of all, the morning of day 4, where we got totally soaking wet. This was one of the lowest parts, because we were forced to give up our unsupported run, and it was sad. But actually, from day 4 to day 6, this section was overall the hardest for us, because the weather was bad, the forests were bad, the swampy ground, everything was bad.
We were tired, we were grumpy. You can see that the footage is kind of like scarce in terms of us speaking and joking around, because it was really the low point, because we had been on the line for a while, and then, keeping up the mood while being miserable is really difficult. It's hard to communicate this to viewers, and it is because when we are quiet, which is like 80% of the time during these missions, it's really hard to show that, because there's nothing to watch. We're just quiet, we don't speak, and we hike. We just go, and we don't speak to each other, we don't speak to the camera. And it's really hard to show that, because there's nothing to see, But I think we have improved in a way that we sugarcoated, for example, Latvian mission more. And now we were more honest with the struggles. I think we didn't communicate that many struggles during Latvian mission. We can't show it as an easy thing. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah,
it's very difficult.
The middle part of the mission was like Wednesdays in the work week.
Yeah.
It's like, it was a long Wednesday.
It was a long But for us, quitting was out of the question. Like, we had put in so much effort and so much work. We had booked our vacations and my parents' vacations, so that we didn't even think about quitting for once. There wasn't this moment where we would think like, maybe let's go home.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
We didn't have that. It was difficult. It was hard. We had to come up with different solutions. For example, quitting the unsupported run. There was a second when I thought I should quit, but not the whole mission. Tom would have proceeded. Mm-hmm. But even then we found a solution. So the easiest way to tackle the mental difficulties is just to keep going. And that decreases the distance between the endpoint and you. So this is the only way.
So those were the lows, but when we think about the high points, actually I would say every evening when we reached the camp, it was a really good feeling that, okay, finally this day is over. It's this funny feeling because this has been your motivation throughout the whole day, reaching the camp. And it always felt good to reach the camp in the evening. And some other highs when it got warm again,
Yeah.
this was a blessing. Oh, that was so good.
It felt like a different mission after it got warm. It was just so easy. It was ridiculously easy to be on this mission after the temperatures were decent.
But it felt really good to cross the first lake and cross the big river on the mattress, because those were some of the things we were most worried about, and it felt good to get it over with.
Yeah, and it worked. The mattress worked. We didn't know if it would, because we had only tested it during summer while just like fooling around and going swimming with the mattress, but we kind of thought that it should be possible with also with the backpacks and the river, but we weren't sure, so it was good that it worked out.
Was it more or less difficult mental-wise than you expected?
We didn't expect anything.
Yeah, we did not have any expectations because we were prepared for anything, because the line is so long and we had no idea what's coming. So I guess we prepared for the worst. And in that sense, it was the same as we expected, basically. And now another question from actually one of our first Patreons, Janis. How do you stay positive in the face of such challenges? We kind of talked about it, but I would say the most helpful thing for me is that I can be on this mission with my partner, and it gives me so much more strength, and it gives me so much more willpower to stay positive.
Yeah, I think being together is definitely easier. I wouldn't imagine doing this alone. It would be, I think, 10 times more difficult.
And maybe some practical things that we did was that whenever we had a tough patch of land, then we would constantly look how much more was there, and we would remind each other, oh, only 500 more meters and we will get to the fields, come on. And that way we really appreciated when we finally conquered the tough patch and we could move again. It's like creating those miniature milestones for ourselves throughout the day. This like kept our mind going and our mood positive.
If you carried the GPS in your hands, wouldn't it be better to tie it around your wrist so that both hands are free and there is less possibility of dropping it? Wouldn't that be more convenient? We're not sure.
We have thought about it, but we haven't tested anything like that. I'd imagine your hand would get a bit tense holding it up in front of you when it's attached to your wrist, because you have to look at the GPS straight on to orient yourself and stay on the line.
We are constantly checking the GPS, and I think we haven't dropped it once.
Yeah. So, what do you estimate? Would it be possible to carry trekking poles on such a trip? That would take some strain off your knee.
Yes, we have thought about it.
We have?
But we haven't tested it.
We should test it out, but I'd imagine they would get in the way and get stuck in the bushes and stuff. But since we haven't tested it, we don't really know.
I think I'm gonna try it in our next big mission. When there are a lot of fields, I think it definitely is beneficial to have a trekking pole, and I think I should think about it more seriously. But it's a little bit more complicated when there are a lot of thickets. Like one of us is holding the camera and the other is holding the GPS, so you have only one free hand. And if you take a trekking pole, then this hand is also occupied. So it might pose a problem. Maybe it's not that bad, but right now we have thought that maybe it's more of an inconvenience. But we should test it out.
Yeah, we will test it out.
Yeah, next question. What was the best night's sleep?
I think we can both agree that it was the time when we slept in the camper van for the first time. So in the evening of day 4. It felt good to stay in an actual bed in dry and warm environments.
If the weather had been more decent, it would have not mattered so much, because sleeping in a tent for us, I think it's like okay. And we have done it in other hikes and it's fine, like sleeping in a tent for a longer period of time. But this time, sleeping in a tent sucked so much that the contrast between sleeping in a tent and in the camper van was so big. Oh, I remember it was like heaven. It was so good. getting into that camper van and drying yourself off and cleaning yourself up and just getting into the warm, cozy beds. Oh, it gave us a real boost, I must say.
It did. Another question. Can you move more than 100 meters to the right or left of the line when crossing water obstacles in order to bring back fallen trees or other materials for building a bridge, or would that already count as breaking the rule? No, we are not allowed to do that. This is the point of the mission. We have to stick to our line. It doesn't matter what we are doing. We are not allowed to leave the line, so unfortunately this is not allowed.
Have you considered using snowshoes to cross bogs? At the moment it seems that you have been avoiding bogs, but snowshoes could provide an additional option. We have thought about it, but we have tried to avoid bogs at every cost because they bring all sorts of trouble and it's kind of a rough terrain to go through. But we should take it into consideration during the next missions, because I think it would be easier to stash snowshoes somewhere and just go over the patch if it brings like an important benefit. Because moving with snowshoes, I think, is easier than going through a thicket.
Yeah, absolutely.
We haven't tested it out. That is the main problem. We haven't tested it out, but we should test it out and bring snowshoes to the game.
How did the Estonian landscape seem in terms of litter? Did you notice a lot of it, or was everything more or less clean? I must say everything was more or less clean. We did see some litter around private properties and private forests, but overall it was all quite clean, which was a good sight.
But we saw big piles of trash, so whenever we saw litter, it was like in big quantities.
Yeah.
But there's another aspect. Half of Estonia is supposedly covered in forests, which means that 50% of the time we should have been walking in a nice forest, but it was more thickets than forests there.
Mostly young trees and saplings. It was not a fully grown forest.
By law, a thicket that is 1.3 meters high is a forest. So if we define it by that, then yeah, half of Estonia is a forest, but we didn't feel like it. It was mostly tackling those bushes.
Let that sink in.
Let that sink in, indeed. So yeah, it was sad to see.
Yeah.
And sad to realize. We knew it, but it was still sad to see that this indeed is the case. So next question. What was the coolest moment besides the end, obviously, and the lowest moment of the trek? Coolest moments.
Coolest moments. I would say every human encounter was really cool because they were all so positive, and it added some extra flair to the mission.
And it was always like a surprise whether this encounter is going to be good or bad, or are they going to be pissed or happy or interested. It was like a mystery every time. And when it turned out to be good, it was like, oh yes, that was so nice. Yeah.
And one of the cool moments was when I fell in the river, in the mud river on day 7. That was cool.
It was so nice. But the lowest moments?
Well, the middle part of Estonia was awful. So I guess when we got totally wet and soaked on day 4 morning, this was the lowest moment. Also, like day 6 was really cold and miserable. We skipped lunch because we just did not want to sit down. It was too cold. And when we had to stop because of Iti's knee, we were afraid that Iti was not going to continue. Those were the lowest moments for me. To you too?
I think so, yeah. Because the knee moment was so miserable because we had already achieved so much and then this problem came. So it was the lowest moment for me as well.
So Iti, how is your knee doing?
My knee is doing fine right now, but I think it took a month for it to fully recover. About a month later, I didn't feel any discomfort or pain, especially while going up and down the stairs. But during our hikes after the mission, I haven't felt it once. It has been really nice. And as Karin said, I didn't do any additional damage to my knee by continuing, so that is really nice to see. But I have to prepare my knee more next time we go on the mission. So next question. How can people who aren't Estonian farmers get stickers?
Well, that's easy. Just become an Estonian farmer and work on our line. But jokes aside,
We don't know.
we don't know.
What do you think? We have an idea. We don't want to make it easy for you guys, so you can just order them, which is like boring. But we thought about hiding them around places that we visit, and then we put together a map where we can share the locations of these stickers that are carefully hidden, and then you can go and search for them and make this small adventure out of it.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes.
Maybe we'll share it on Instagram,
Yeah.
so you can follow us and then see it, and then, so yeah, maybe we start doing that. But we haven't really thought about merch. I know that there are some hints that we should start doing some kind of a merch, but I feel like we're still too small, and I don't know if you guys are that interested in merch.
Yeah. But let us know.
But if you are,
Yeah.
we can think of something.
Make yourself known.
But the thing is, the world has enough things.
Yeah. But anyway, if you want that chance to find some stickers, then you should follow us on our Instagram and stay tuned. Maybe at some point we will share the locations.
Maybe. It's just an idea. Let us know what you think of it.
Yeah. Will you guys ever do like a small cycling trip? Maybe.
We have thought about it.
If we think of a fun challenge for it, because just riding around in bicycles isn't quite entertaining for us.
I like to cycle. How about you?
I like to cycle too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Just a matter of buying bicycles.
Yeah.
And maybe we will think of something.
Absolutely. In hindsight, would you do anything differently?
We wouldn't go on that week.
We would choose a different weather.
No,
Order a different weather.
Because it was like 3 months in advance, set in stone.
Yeah. But I would say what I would do differently. I would put on the freaking raincoat on the morning of day 4, because this would have saved us from a lot of suffering. I guess we would have still lost this unsupported run at some point because the weather was really tough, but at least we could have saved us from that suffering from the morning of day 4. And also, I guess now we know that the old swamp ditches are really bad and they are not crossable without additional gear. We would avoid those in our line planning, but we didn't know that before. Now we would do that part differently.
I would prepare my knee more. I would target my knee more specifically with different exercises that would prevent the pain from showing up. So I think I'm gonna start training already for the spring mission that's coming up, because I feel like we trained a lot. It was general hiking and general walking that we did to build up the endurance, but I didn't target my knee enough. I did some small exercises that my doctor told me, but now I'm gonna book an appointment with a physiotherapist and I'm gonna do a proper preparation. Just, focus on the knee so that it wouldn't cause any problems anymore. Because I would like to enjoy the mission most of the time. Right now, most of the time I was just suffering and eating painkillers, and that sucks, because it was already miserable and then it was more miserable. So I would like to avoid that. Yeah.
All right, and now the big question. What's next? What are your plans?
What's
gonna happen? And so on. We have a lot of adventures that we filmed during the summer, and now we will be uploading them to YouTube. And there are some pretty cool ones.
For example, peculiar camping.
Yeah, this is the only hint you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Peculiar.
Obscure. Strange.
Weird.
You'll see.
But I guess after the Estonian straight line mission, you want to know what's the next big straight line mission. Yeah, let's say it. Next up, we want to complete the Baltics, so we will go and try to cross Lithuania. We will try to do it in the next spring, the spring of 2026, and it's gonna be cool. We already have a potential line, And if there's any Lithuanians watching, then let us know. What should we expect, if we should prepare somehow, and so on.
Maybe you have something that helps us avoid troubles that we would otherwise get. So yeah, Lithuania is gonna have a lot of fields, right? Right?
Yeah, let's hope so.
I hope so.
It seems
like Lithuania is gonna have a lot of fields, and maybe it's gonna be a bit better in terms of weather as well, but we never know. But yeah, Lithuania is next. And in addition to big adventures and the ones that we have already filmed, we're gonna do a monthly update on Patreon on what is going on, what we have done, what is coming up, maybe a little bit of like our everyday life and the training that we're gonna do and the preparation of a mission across Lithuania. So if you want to stay tuned, then check it out. And there's also some bonus footage coming up to Patreon about our Estonian mission.
Yes.
So if you want to see that, check it out. So thank you for watching the videos and commenting. It has been so nice to read them, and thank you for asking a lot of questions. And if there's anything else that you're interested in, let us know. And Lithuanians, help us out. We don't know what's going on in Lithuania, so write to us. Yeah.
All right, that's the end of the video. I guess we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.